HAFAK Radio.
HAFAK Radio. You're listening to HAFAK Radio.
The latest hits, oldest, greatest memories, latest gist, news, sports, information, all on HAFAK Radio. Who plays the biggest sound? We do. We are HAFAK Radio, 247 around the world, non-stop. This is HAFAK Radio, the radio for the society.
Hi everyone, good evening and welcome on board. Welcome to your number one radio for the society, HAFAK Online Radio. My name is Dayo and I'll be ushering you into Dayos hour. It's a show that keeps you on track with important matters. And please don't forget to follow our Instagram handle at HAFAK Online Radio. And do follow my personal page at I_am_Duning. So before I'll be revealing my topic for tonight, I would like us to go on a very short break. I'll be right back. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and I remain your host Dayo, and of course this is Dayos R, and it's still HAFAK Online Radio. Yeah, my people, happy new month. It's a new month, and I pray God blessings will definitely be enough throughout this month. So speaking of my today's topic, we'll be talking on rejection. So when we talk about rejection is just an act of pushing someone or something away. When we experience rejection from probably your family, like one's family of origin, a friend, a partner, a romantic partner, and resulting emotions can often be painful. Rejection can be experienced on large scale or in a small scale ways in everyday life. So while rejection is typically a part of life, some types of rejections may be very difficult to cope with than others. So speaking on understanding rejection, rejection can actually occur in a variety of circumstances. Typically, rejection describes an instance of, a person or entity pushing someone or something away or out. So a person may reject or refuse probably, gifts, a whole lot of things like that. And in the field of mental health care, rejection most frequently refers to these feelings of shame, sadness, or grief people when they are not accepted by others. And a person might feel rejected after after probably a relationship, like a end of relationship. Probably a child who has few or no friends may feel rejected by peers, friends, and also an individual who was giving up for adoption may also experience those kind of feeling because they feel okay, that was not the parent that gave birth to them, so they feel they can always separate themselves from them, or probably the children themselves can actually make the child feel rejected. So rejection can also result from life events not involving relationship actually, so such as being turned down for a desired position or work, or receiving a rejection letter from probably school, college, work. Rejection can actually be very painful, and some instances of rejections may be more may impact than others. So because most human desire social contact and many people crave acceptance for society, being rejected can actually be negative, positive, and sometimes it can be emotionally wise. So speaking of psychological effects of rejection can be extremely painful, because it may have the effect of making people feel as if they are unwanted, valued, or accepted. So most individuals will experience rejection at some point in their life, really. And a child may feel rejected temporarily by probably visit parents, or a student may be rejected by teacher or lecturers who probably are rude on something. So this type of rejection may evolve quickly and are less likely to have a long-lasting effect. So ongoing or long-term rejection may have deep and lasting psychological effects, which may probably include trauma. When speaking of trauma, trauma like a long-term rejection or rejections that result in extreme feelings may contribute to trauma, and things like this can actually have a serious psychological consequences. Let's give for example, children who feel constantly rejected by their parents may find it very difficult to grow and succeed at school and in relationship with peers. So some individuals develop a chronic fear of rejection, often as a result of multiple traumatic experiences with rejections early in life. We have depression. Speaking on depression, rejection can actually has been linked to the development of depression in teens. So, however, others who experience rejection may also become depressed. Depression and rejection, they actually have a very, very common link, because when rejected by probably parents, peers, a whole lot of things, you tend to be sad, and you being sad, you start to think, you start to do a whole lot of things that are not meant to do, and you get to be depressed, and from there, so you get that kind of thing. So bullying, which is actually also, I was going to mention that bullying, because bullying, it's really, really not good, and it's also a form of rejection. So it's really essential, a combination of rejection, and it can just have various negative effects, including rejection, stress, eating disorder, harming yourself, just doing a whole lot of things that you shouldn't be doing at that particular time. Speaking on pain response, research has actually shown that the brain responds to social pain in a way that it's similar to the way that it responds to physical pain. So according to research, the same brain pathway that are activated by physical pain are also activated by social pain or rejection. So receptor system in the brain also releases natural painkillers, which when an individual experiences social pain, the same as when physical pain is experienced. Anxiety and stress. Rejection actually often contributes to pre-existing conditions such as stress and anxiety, and they also lead to development of this stress and anxiety. So similarly, this and other mental health conditions can expand the feelings of rejection. Abuse, one study found that in the male members of the study, the perpetration of abuse in intimate relationships are associated with the experience of higher levels of parental rejection in childhood. So symptoms of this kind of stress and abuse are very, very deflating. Social informations processing were also linked. So while rejections can actually hurt, it's never healthy to take pain or rejection out of another person, because you felt rejected, you're in pains, then probably somebody comes to you and you actually point out taking down your pain or rejection, taking it on another person, probably through emotional abuse or physical violence, a whole lot of things. You don't have to always be very conscious of yourself, and things like that definitely leads to anger, like we said a few weeks back about anger. And so you just have to keep yourself together and hold yourself no matter whatever is happening. You just have to be very careful not to pour the pain of your rejection on others by probably emotional abuse or violence. So you just have to be very careful about it. Speaking on types of violent rejection, rejection occurs in a variety of contexts, and any mental health implication by depend partially on the circumstances under which the relationship occurs. So some types of rejection, we have the familiar rejection that has to do with rejections from one family, parents, siblings, and a whole lot like that. Before I would like to continue, I would like us to go on a very, very short break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. back to still HAFAK Online Radio, and of course, this is Dayos R. And we all know that rejection can be really, it can be so hurtful, but it can also inflict damage to our psychological well-being and goes beyond emotional pain. So we just have to be careful when dealing with rejection. And yes, we'll be speaking on dealing with rejection. Getting rejected can actually be very hard, and it can make you sad, it can make you hurt, surprised, or angry, like I mentioned earlier. So in general, getting rejected really feels good. So how do people deal with it? And this particular part is just to share some tools and strategies to help you prepare for rejection in case it's definitely, and how to make you recover from rejection. Why does rejection hurt sometimes? Yes, rejection hurts, and it often feels personal, like we weren't good enough or for something or for someone, and that can lead us to a lot of other negative thoughts or feelings about ourselves. And sometimes that emotional pain can feel similar in our bodies to physical pain. For example, now you felt somebody rejected you. Going back home, you feel your heart you just can't think straight. Your heart just keep dropping. You just feel like for a minute you probably have forgotten you got rejected or something, and by the time you go back to thinking about it again, your heart just boom, like, okay, I was thinking about this before. So examples, it makes your heart drop, getting a headache, noticing the rising, like you just want to fight, or you just want to just make a physical violence, you just want to do a whole lot of things. So before rejection, you have to take that thing out of rejection, is to just be ready for it. Actually, this does not mean that you should stop caring about things or stop taking risks. Instead, it means thinking about why you want things and experiences. So what it means is that when you can have them and recognize, when you can have them, so recognizing where you may need to support, you feel like where you may need to support, you feel less alone if and when rejection happens. So there are some things you really need to consider. So dealing with rejection, like the main topic for now, is like getting rejected is very, very hard. Yes, everybody knows that, and it can make you sad, or it's a whole lot of things like that. So before we just spoke about before rejection, now we're going to recognize rejection in your life. So maybe your friends does not like the movie you guys, probably guys going out and your friends does not really like the movie you want to see, or just anything random, or maybe something happens in your neighborhood. We get rejected all the time. So recognizing and accepting the little ways you might feel experience rejection can actually help make it easier when you get rejected for bigger things, probably relationships, jobs, school, gatherings, family. So learn from taking risks. Rejection can actually happen when we take risks and ask for what we want. So stop putting yourself out there in low stakes ways that can actually help you learn how rejection feels and how to handle it. So try borrowing sometimes from a friend, or asking at your favorite restaurant if you're hiring. So if you get rejected, reflect on the experience. Also, avoid putting all your eggs in one basket. Rejection can hurt, obviously, because we put a whole lot of energy into believing that things are supposed to go a certain way, and sometimes things does not actually go the way we want it to be. So obviously, we just have to try to make things, share things, let's avoid doing one particular thing. Let's sit and think of, okay, what else can I do? So even if one fails, that it's gonna hurt, but you are not going to feel all that way bad, because you feel, okay, I have a backup plan. So things like this, you just have to, so doing things that can actually cut you off from other unexpected or exciting possibilities. So while it's good to put energy into relationship, your job, it's also good to put energy into, your friends. Not because you're in a relationship will now means okay, you have less time for your friend.